Today, once again, we need to talk about British fishermen, a group that was once the poster child for the Brexit movement. And their story is a perfect microcosm of what went wrong with the entire project. For years, the image of the stoic fisherman struggling against the EU's bureaucracy was used by politicians to symbolize all of Britain's frustrations. And figures like Nigel Farage stood on docks, promising that leaving the EU would finally mean taking back control of British waters. They vowed to restore the fishing industry to a golden age. They told fishermen that a brighter future was just beyond the horizon, a future free of the common fisheries policy. But now it's 2025, and that golden age never arrived. The promises were broken, and the hopes of the fishermen have been shattered. The reality they are now living in is, a painful mix of higher costs, endless paperwork, and continued access for EU vessels, because no one ever talked about where do those British fishermen sell their fish. And as someone who has watched this entire saga and viewed Brexit as a terrible mistake from the very beginning, this particular story is not just frustrating, it's a profound tragedy, because everybody should have known this. It's the story of a community that was used as a pawn in a much larger political game, only to be abandoned the moment the votes were counted. And greetings to the people in the agriculture, by the way. And the anger of the fishermen is palpable. They were sold a dream of sovereignty, of an exclusive fishing zone that would put their interests first. But what really happened then is a brutal letdown. The latest reports state that a new agreement has been struck with the EU, one that extends access for EU boats to British waters for another 12 years. 12 more years. To the fishermen who were promised an end to this very arrangement, this feels like a total and complete betrayal. They were told to wait 5 years, that after the transition period, Britain would finally have the leverage to take back its seas. Instead, that leverage was given away for over a decade again. It's a capitulation. It's a surrender to the very thing they were promised that would be protected. And it gets worse when you look at the economics. What's in English? Economics? Yeah. English is a tough language, though. But leaving the EU single market has created a logistical nightmare for a perishable product like fish. Before Brexit, a boat could land its catch and have it on a market stall in Paris or Madrid the next morning, with no extra paperwork. And now, every shipment requires, tons of customs declarations, sanitary certificates and border checks. And the delays at the border are causing fish to spoil. And the extra costs are eating into what little profit margins exist at all. And this isn't about being competitive. It's about being able to get your product to market at all. The fishermen in Newlyn in Cornwall are no strangers to hard work, for example. They go out before dawn, hauling in catches of sardines, mackerel, plaice, and even high-valued turbot and crab. And before they could land their catch and know it had a clear path to the market. Now, they are watching that path become more and more clogged with red tape. And the government is essentially telling them to find new markets, to pivot away from Europe. But the reality is that the European market is a massive established customer base that cannot be easily replaced. And this entire debacle exposes the cynicism at the heart of the Brexit project. The simple, powerful message of taking back control was never about empowering communities like the fishermen. It was about winning a political argument. And once that argument was won, the promises were forgotten. Or just hidden because they knew from the start those promises were lies. The politicians moved on and the fishermen were left to face the consequences alone. They were sold a simple solution to a complex problem, and the solution they got was more complex than the problem ever was. And this is what happens when populist rhetoric collides with reality. You get a community that was used and now feels abandoned. You get an industry that was promised a rebirth but is now struggling to survive. And you get a poignant reminder that for all the talk of sovereignty, the true cost of Brexit is often paid by the very people who were told they would benefit the most. And what do you think? Is this the inevitable price of leaving the EU or a complete betrayal of the British fishing industry? Please let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Outside Views.